Okay, so now we're going to find the slope without a graph. So you're not going to be drawing all those sketches today. You're going to be finding the slope by just me giving you 2 points. All right, before we find it without a graph, let's remember how to find slope with a graph. So you start at a point, then you go straight down till you get even with the next point, and you go over, and then count that the rise here is 2, and the run is 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, and you make a fraction out of that rise over run, and it's 2/5. Now, what we're going to do today is we're not going to have that, but we are going to know this point right here. And this point is the point, what, 5, 6. And this is the point 0, 4. And it turns out you can subtract the y coordinates to get the rise, right? The y coordinates are 6 and 4. 6 minus 4. For the run, you can subtract the x coordinates. And this we're going to get 5 minus 0, and you get 2/5. All right, now there's a little more to it than that, but that's basically what we're going to be doing. We're going to find these numbers by subtracting the x and y coordinates. Okay? All right, so we have to learn something called subscripts. So you would say this is x sub 1, that's how you say that, comma, y sub 1. And this is not like x squared at all. It's nothing like that. This is a numbering system. And so x sub 1 means, sub for subscript, means the first x coordinate. And y sub 1 would be the first y coordinate. So x sub 1 here is 6, right? Because that's the x coordinate over here. And the y sub 1 is the y coordinate 2, right? It's where the dot is. Okay? Now let's find that one. What is x sub 2? X sub 2 is this is the second point, right? That's why it's sub 2. If I had a third point, which I'm not, it would be x sub 3. So x sub 2 is -4. That's the x coordinate there. The y coordinate, y sub 2, is 8. Okay. And why do you need to know that? Well, you'll find out in a second. All right, so what we're going to be doing is to remind you about horizontal and vertical distance. All right, so we're going to find, right, we're going to need this rise here, okay? And this rise, all right, is subtract the y coordinates. 8 minus 2 is 6. It's 6 units long, right? Because it goes from 8 down to 2, right? Because this is even with 2. All right, so this is 6 units. All right, the horizontal distance would be here, and we're going to subtract the x coordinates, 6 minus -4, and we'll get 10 units for that. Okay, and if I do that, you should look at a jump ramp. But the only problem with that, what we did yesterday, is that we need this to be negative, because this is a negative slope right there. And we're going to talk about that. All right, so to find the slope, this is the formula you need to memorize. You subtract the two y coordinates, y sub 2 minus y sub 1. That gets you the rise, right? How much it goes up. To get the run, you subtract the x coordinates. Okay. Now, these are actually not distances, right? We did distances yesterday, but these are not distances. They have a direction, and we're going to talk about that. But we're going to do this. You don't have to plot it. We're going to do 0, 4, and 3, 6. All right, so we're going to find, so let's do the y coordinates first. All right, so the y coordinate, 6 minus 4. That gets my rise. 6 minus 4, 2. All right. To x coordinates, x sub 2 minus x sub 1, 3 minus 0, 2/3. And so this, if I draw a line through those, the slope there would be 2/3. Rise over run. Whoops, it's a little sloppy with my line there. All right, so now we're going to do two other points. We're going to use 3, 6, and 6, 8. We're going to use, let me use colors here. We're going to do these 2 points right there. So we're going to subtract the y's. 8 minus 6 is 2. Subtract the x's for the run, 6 minus, oh, we get the same answer, right? Because no matter where you do it along here, you should get the same slope, positive 2/3. All right. All right, but these are not distances. They have direction. And remember that the rise can be negative, and we're going to see that here. So we're going to find the slope. We're going to subtract our y coordinates, y sub 2 minus y sub 1. Now, what matters is consistency. So say I do 3 minus 7. All right, so I do 3 minus 7. So I'm saying this is the second one, the second y, and this is the first y. Right, 3 minus 7, same as 3 plus negative 7, negative 4. Right, so we're getting a negative there intentionally, okay? Then if you start with the 3 on the top, you must start with the 6 on the bottom. You have to be consistent. All right, and you'll get 6 minus the 1, which is 5, and the slope there is negative 4/5. Because the slope here can be negative. We don't always want a positive. What we want is consistency. Now, I could have done this totally backwards. I could have, if I had done 7 minus 3 and called, right, switch the positions and made switch them from the first one to the second one. You would have gotten 7 minus 3 on the top and 1 minus 6 on the bottom. And you'd get 4 over negative 5. But that's the same thing, right? We don't write the negative on the bottom ever. But, right, 4 over negative 5 is the same as negative 4 over 5. They are the same exact number. You just stick the the one negative sign out front. Okay, so let's all see that now. All right, so I'm going to do for the y, I'm writing this out. We're subtracting the y coordinates. So I'm always going to subtract my y's first to be consistent. So I did 7 minus 5. Since I started with the 7, when I do with the x's, I have to start with the 9, have to. So it's minus negative 2, right? So on the top, 7 minus 5, 2. 9 minus negative 2, same as 9 plus 2. This is 2/11. Now, if you'd done it backwards, you would have gotten 5 minus 7 over negative 2 minus 9. Would be negative 2 over negative 11. But two negatives make a positive, all right? Now, so the way I did it was the easier way. As you do a lot of these, you'll find out one order it may be slightly easier than the other, but as long as you're consistent, right? These, you have to start with the same point each time. All right, so say I do 8, I'm subtracting my y's for the rise, 8 minus negative 6 on the top, then I must start with negative 4 minus negative 2 on the bottom. 8 minus negative 6, same as 8 plus 6, 14. Negative 4 minus negative 2, same as negative 4 plus 2, negative 2. 14 over negative 2 simplifies to negative 7, right? We don't leave it negative 7 over 1. All right, so on this screen, you're going to have to simplify your fraction. So let's see that. All right, so we have a slope, and right, I'm going to start with this y. All right, all right, so negative 2 minus negative 5. Since I chose to start with negative 2 on the top, I have to start with negative 1 on the bottom. Negative 2 minus negative 5, negative 2, same as negative 2 plus 5, 3. Negative 1 minus 8, same as negative 1 plus 8, which is 7, and the slope is, oops, no, that is wrong. What did I just do? Negative 1 minus 8, negative 1 plus negative 8, oof, big mistake. Negative 9, right? And then we have to simplify because 3/9, right, is not. And so that is negative 1/3. Don't leave the negative in the bottom. It is mathematically the same, but write it on the top or up front, please. So the slope there is negative 1/3, right? Negative 3/9 always gets simplified. All right. Just to show you, I'm going to start with this 1 this time. So just get I'm going to do 1 minus negative 3, subtract the y coordinates. Since I started with the 1, now I got to start with the 7. 7 minus negative 1. 1 minus negative 3, same as 1 plus 3, 4. 7 minus negative 1, same as 7 plus 1, 8. 4/8 must be simplified to 1/2. So I'm going to do 7 minus this negative 3, and I'll do 7 minus that negative 3. 7 minus negative 3, same as 7 plus 3, 10. I get 10 over 10, which is 1. Right, this is that line that goes right down like that, and all these points. And notice what I did. I gave you 7, 7, and then -3, -3, and that's why I didn't give you ones right next to each other, so you had to simplify. Okay, so I'm going to do subtract the y's, 7 minus 7. Then I'm going to subtract the x's, -5 minus 2. I get 0 over -5 plus -2, -7. What's 0 over -7? 0 over everything is 0. So what kind of line is this with a slope of 0? Right? We should be saying, Mr. Ben, this is a horizontal line. And I think we're sorry, 2, 7 and -5, 7. Right? It's this line right there. That's this line. I wish I could draw it better. Up there it is. And so there it is, and it had a slope of 0 because they have the same, every point on there has the same y coordinate. All right, again, I'm going to start with this 8. I'm going to do 8 minus -7, subtract the y's, and then I'm going to subtract the x's, 6 minus 0. So I get 15 on the top, same as 8 plus 7, and 0 on the bottom. So what's the slope? That's not allowed. There's no answer. What's the word for no answer? Undefined. What kind of line is undefined? Right, here's the point. 6, 8 is right there. 6, -7. And this is a vertical line. You have to have this, truthfully, mixing up horizontal and vertical is what messes up several people on the next test. You have to know it. The one that has a slope of 0 is horizontal. Horizontal lines always have a slope of 0. Vertical lines, like the walls in your house, are vertical. They don't have a slope. It's undefined. Anytime a fraction has 0 in the denominator, it's undefined. Anytime a fraction has 0 in the numerator, it's 0. Doesn't matter what's down there, unless there's a 0 down there. Yeah, by the way, 0 over 0 is not 1. It's undefined because of the 0 in the denominator. All right, let's practice. So here I'm going to do 11 minus 7. And then 5 minus 3, I get 4 over 2, which is 2. Up here, I'm going to do 5 minus 0, 6 minus -4. So I get 5. This is the same as 6 plus 4, 5/10, which I can't leave. I have to simplify to 1/2. Here, I'm going to do 1 minus -4. Then I'm going to do 2 minus 9. 1 minus -4, same as 1 plus 4, 5. 2 minus 9, -7. That is -5/7. Please take the time to move that to the top or in the middle. On the y's, I got -4 minus -4, which is the same as -4 plus 4, 0. Once I get that, I have to make sure I don't have 0 in the denominator. I don't. Since I don't have 0 in the denominator, this is a slope of 0. And what kind of line is that? Everyone should be thinking horizontal. I didn't ask that, but you need to know that. All right, so subtract the y's, 3 minus 2. On the bottom, -7 minus -7, which is the same as -7 plus 7, which is 0. I get 1 over 0, which means this is undefined. And what kind of line is it? Vertical.